another edition of Paranormal Plus with Grizzly on the Hunt and Tracy Inman.
Hello,
What's going
everybody.
on, Tracy? How you doing there?
Same old thing, buddy. Just kicking it and getting it.
Hello, Aussie Sue. Welcome to the show. Irene, welcome. So what's been going on with you all week now?
Just a lot of work, man. Just a lot of work. I bought a couple old Cabbage Patch dolls, Grizzly.
Man.
I'm not going to bring them on. I don't want to do that to you today, but the next one I'll get them out. I got to clean them up a little bit. Like I said, we collect old toys, and these are I look like they were pretty much the original if I picked them out right. So, that's about it. The wife, she's in Florida this week, and hi, Kelly.
We could have had a party.
She's watching. Yeah. You're too far away from me, though.
Yeah,
so I basically just been laying around the house.
Yeah, welcome FDL. FDL, man, I tell you what, you should have saw what happened to him on the last show. But so you got some interesting guests, I heard, right?
Yeah. I have Anna Marguerite Brandemart. So I'm going to give you her profile here real quick. Her name is Anna. She's a gifted. She's able to see and hear spirits, and she helps people reach their loved ones on the other side. She's the owner of Message from the Afterlife broadcast, which I've seen and I've been on, and she does a really, really good job with it. And she is the inert of her candle shop, where she makes candles of any kind, healing, Wicca, love, and so forth. And then also with her is a guy named Aaron Hoffman. He's a paranormal investigator, researcher, podcast host, and magazine editor. Here's his bio, having been a paranormal enthusiast for many years. He would finally pick up investigating in 2018. He would go to his first group with Thomas Rutkowski and Neil Mao in Night Watch Paranormal. Until 2022. Since then, he has started podcasting. Eventually, he's teamed up with Anna and in the joint venture Secrets of the Crypt. He still investigates from time to time and is in the process of establishing a new team. His investigations have garnered him a wide array of experiences and evidence. So let's welcome Aaron Hoffman and Anna Marguerite Brandemart.
Anna and Shadow, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hello there. Hello.
Hey, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Yep, nice seeing you again. Yeah.
So introduce yourselves, and tell everybody. Tracy gave a background, and Irene, I will send you pictures. I do not mind anybody wanting to debunk any of my dolls. All right. I know they have some attachments, not all, but we have something coming up next week, but yes, I will send you photographs. But Anna, we'll start with you. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. We've been in the middle of a lot of projects right now, and I'm really excited with the new broadcast that we have going on for us, and that's why I brought Aaron on with me, and I really want us to share that with you guys. And we just been very busy with our merch, and I am developing a new candle company with a brand new name. Hopefully this time this name stays. I'm trying to put a name that will catch everybody's eye to make sure it gets out there, make sure everybody loves what I make, and get everybody interested in what I do. So right. And just trying to get my tarot card business as well up and running with that, and just got a lot going on. So
I can understand that. What about you, kind sir, Mr. Shadow? Welcome to the show.
Well, like I said, I'm establishing a new paranormal investigation team, but I did used to have a paranormal magazine called The View Beyond, and that just got so big that I ended up shutting it down. This time I'm starting a new one called Dark Vault Magazine. Same thing, paranormal, conspiracies, unsolved mysteries, things like that. I think I've learned a couple of good lessons, because for those of us who try to do a lot of stuff on our own without hiring somebody else, managing sites and teams and social media, it can be real time consuming. Takes a lot of
Very.
energy.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you pretty much live at that desk, don't you?
Yeah, I really do. I live in my studio, so yeah, I really do. With all the shows that I do, and the software, the advertisements, all the platforms, all the audio programs, the platforms. Yes, I know exactly where you're coming from on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, the arms on my chair have permanent elbow imprint, and there's a permanent butt cheek imprint on the bottom of my chair as well.
I have seat cushions. I knew what was going to happen, so I was prepared. See, yeah, do you agree with me? I did. There goes one of the cat balls, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Mark.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Standing Stones. So Facebook user, hi, sweetie. Go ahead, Tracy.
Oh, that'd be off of that. The Facebook user always shows up from that paranormal for some reason. It comes up as Facebook user. So Anna, what got you into this, into the paranormal field?
Oh, God. Well, what got me into the paranormal field is, I'm going to keep it nice and short, only because if I add everything that has happened since after high school, it'll be a long story for the whole show. So I'll keep it nice and sweet. I've been into the paranormal field after high school. Like I said, I realized that I had a lot of weird things happen around me that I couldn't understand. And at a point where I couldn't take it anymore, to where I took classes, I went to ghost hunting classes, and I started a team with South Jersey Ghost Research. And ever since then, because I felt like there was a lot of weird things that happened, no matter where I went, no matter where I work, I kind of needed to know that answer. And why am I seeing things that other people are not seeing? Why am I seeing people in front of me that are not even there? And I'm hearing all these disembodied voices, and I just wanted to take it to the next level. And after more than 10 years, and that's why I'm here why I'm here.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
No, I love it. Everybody is different when it comes to what we do in the reality in the realm, right? And one of the things we talked about on the prior shows is everybody wants the truth, and they want proof of things, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do, is provide that. And unfortunately, there are so many people out there with AI and fakes, and they want to manufacture, right? Yeah, you agree with me on that, I see. Evidence. It makes it hard for people that are really out there trying to do the right thing, and to prove there's things that after we pass on. So, yeah, I totally agree. I'm very excited. I did a little homework on her and him, and I'm very excited they're on the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're excited. I'm happy to be here.
Evidently, I'm not the only one in the studio too. So,
what about you? What about you, Shadow? What got you into this?
Oh man. Yeah, I've always been fascinated with the paranormal. I love it, and most of the time, while the guys in my neighborhood growing up, they'd be out playing baseball, basketball, whatever, I was riding 2.5 miles down to the library, reading books on the paranormal, unsolved mysteries, and things like that. Then in my teen years, I started getting involved with certain unfavorable practices, things like that. Then in my Druidism, I started getting a lot of time it would be pretty dark, and I ended up developing an attachment that lasted for years, and it wasn't until I tried to get my life turned around that I finally learned of its existence, and it took me months to shake it off, and it still left some pretty lasting impression. So when I get around dark elements, I get weird sensations. Kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I ran into Thomas one night, and he was working at a store, and then we got to talking about the paranormal, and said, I'll investigate with you. And that was pretty much where it all started.
Got hooked right then and there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It
That's
is
the way.
very
That's where I
addicting,
was.
ladies and gentlemen. Very addicting, yes.
So I've luckily I haven't had anything attached to me. I have been told at one time that I had a Native American that was potentially attached to me. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, see something in the bed, stuff like that. But long story short, I did what the spiritual healer had told me to do, and I haven't had it come back since. So that's been about 3 years, 3.5 years. So, praise the Lord, hallelujah, whatever, it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Chris?
why I always keep lots of holy water around me. I am a reverend. I went on a spiritual guide last year. And the reason why I did that, ladies and gentlemen, because, I have a lot of paranormal experiences all throughout my life. And from my mom's side of the family, they always came back. And I didn't understand that. And that always made me thirst for more. And places where I lived, it was always family members. And the ones that do not know, we have a crime show on Friday. We do missing persons and cold cases and murder cases that are unsolved. And we have a panel with people with abilities. And after we do the case, we present the case to the people with abilities, and they get a picture or just a name. That's it. And they do their own thing. They come back with their evidence, what they see, remote viewing, dowsing, whatever, however they do, whatever. And they tell us the story, what they see. And I went on a mission last year to debunk all that and to come across the frauds. And that actually put me on a spiritual journey. And I did not know somebody in my family had abilities. And that's why I knew a lot of stuff when I was on the police department. Made stuff easier for me to work when I was interviewing and interrogating people. So that just fed, and I wanted to learn more, and it just keeps continuing to grow. And it's nice to meet people in the community as you all that's got a very good, outstanding reputation that does the right thing. They're out there to show people, hey, this is what is reality. I love to catch 20 fish in 20 minutes. Okay. But ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't happen. Right. So, I've been on ghost hunts or investigations where you sit there for hours and nothing happens. It happens.
Yeah.
It's not like a switch, Right.
Yep.
Right. So see, they agree, or somebody agrees.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Been there plenty of times.
Yeah. And that's a stigmata a lot of people think. Is that, they watch things on TV, then they watch things that we do. They're like, boring. And it's like, no, they do a lot of editing. There's a lot of dramatic things that are in place to get you pumped up, and the music, and they scream and run. And I scream and run in my studio. I just knock stuff over and break things. So, yeah, and no, I'm being serious. See,
I know it's fine because I have the same issue as well. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I literally, I'm like Biden. I was going to have to go buy me some Depends because things being poltergeist activity and things being thrown, and my regular followers know that. And the last show, like I was telling you all, I had to shut down my live feed and get myself together. So yeah, it was very interesting. So, and it's never a dull moment around me. No, man, Battlefield all the way. Yes, I love.
The only reason why I asked if you're a gamer is because Anna and I play this game called The Demonologist.
Oh boy!
And I will be the first one to admit, on the field, you will not get me to jump. You might, catch my attention by surprise, but for some reason in that game, the jump scare will literally make me jump out of my seat. I have watched this poor girl cover her face and almost hide behind her chair. And all I can think of,
Thanks,
like,
Aaron.
if this was like in real life. Well, oh, you're welcome. If this was like in real life, yeah. If that was like in real life, I don't think I would be a paranormal investigator.
No, absolutely not. I would think twice.
So it's a video game.
Yeah.
The Demonologist.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I have to check that.
Now, is that you get that on Xbox?
Steam. It's a PC game.
Yeah, it's for a computer.
What I tell you, Anna, before the show, it turned them off.
Yep.
I don't know if you heard that click, but it did. Now the reason why they're activated is I knocked it, my boom mic. But yes, the dolls are coming after me, FDL. But no, I have to check that out, a PC game. So that's very interesting. Now, do y'all believe in Sasquatch or Bigfoot?
I guess. I mean, it's in the paranormal books, so I mean, I haven't seen them, but I do believe a little bit, so wouldn't hurt.
Oh, y'all, we're going to have to take you for a ride.
I'm all for it.
I will not go in the yeah, I know, right? I'm telling myself, I will not go in the woods by myself anymore. No. After what I've seen in my lifetime, and after I've seen videos that are credible of these things, creatures, whatever you want to call them, cloak and disappear like Predator, that crap is crazy. Now, in the spiritual world, and let me tell you something, I believe in evil, and you got to believe in good, yin and yang, right? It exists. I have seen things that people say that do not exist, that walk upon this earth, whether it's good or evil. No, that's what. And I do have a vampire kit, and my ammo and my self-defense guns are blessed with holy water, and I do carry garlic and wooden stake. So make fun of me.
Like
That's
supernatural.
fine. Yeah, whatever. I am prepared. Yeah, see, I am prepared. So yes.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing I find interesting about all that. For one, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm open-minded," and then you start talking about some of the more extreme field or areas of the field of study that we were into. Then you start to get that old skeptic attitude. Oh no, I don't believe that. You know, right. So I've learned I have to take on the approach, the mentality that if I'm going to be an investigator, a paranormal investigator of all things, I have to be open to the fact that anything and everything is possible. It's just a matter of proving it or disproving it.
That is correct. And I say, sir, and no matter how many times I have drawn that line in that sand and said, I am not going to cross this line, I have to erase that line and move that line further. So I don't even do a line anymore because I know, right? So every time, and you know, I mean, there are things, you know, you ever heard the goat man, right? We have that here in Louisville, Kentucky. It's called the Pope Lick Monster. And I know it's for a different show. I just got touched and I'm freaking out already, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to try to remain calm. I'm going to fasten my seatbelt. I'm not going to run and knock stuff over. But I've got a guy that tracked this thing and got cast, and he was leaving money in the tree in the creek bed, and he was standing next to these tracks, and it looked like something. Anyways, it's for another paranormal realm and reality. Yes, things do exist. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, and I do believe in fairies. I've seen those. I know that sounds quirky, but it does.
See, I want to try my hardest to believe in fairies, and I'm not saying that they're not real. I would like to see if they are, just like Bigfoot, you know. I mean, Bigfoot, fairies, aliens, but I haven't seen any yet. But I believe that the possibility in this supernatural world, they can possibly be out there.
Okay, now, both of y'all believe in orbs, right? We're not talking dust particles. We're not talking water particles, right? We're talking actual orbs. Yes. Now, do you know a difference between an orb and a fairy? Because a lot of people do not. This is not a trick question. Shadow's like, where the hell is he going with this?
Well, I can see where you're going with it because fairies can have a light to them far away, like a full ball of light if they wanted to, and that's how they actually form. And an orb, you can actually see the energy of spirits manifesting in that orb. I've seen it. I've seen it in the pictures. Now, I can understand where you're coming at with this because how they both kind of look the same, but the fairy can be thicker light of their energy. Yes,
and they also have a trail, and brighter, and they have a trail.
The orb, you can see through energy with different kind of colors. It all depends on how it all depends on how they manifest. So it depends on the ghost. It depends on the energy. So there's your kind of difference between a fairy light and a orb light. So that's the way how I see things. I don't know, maybe you guys see them differently. But
No, you're
for
right.
being in the field more than 10 years, it's, I've seen so much stuff, so that's how I've seen orbs. So,
and I got one on the last show during an interview. I was like, "That's a fairy," and the guy was like, "You saw that, didn't you?" I was like, "It had wings and legs," and I was like, "My God!" And everybody was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "That was a fairy," and they were like, "You saw that?" I'm like, "Not only did we not see it, sir, we got it on video." And it flew right in front of them. And they're like, "Well, we got fairies all the time. They mess with our cameras." I'm like, and they were showing us pictures. And I'm like, so every time an orb went around their living room, I would do this. And they're like, "Yeah, we see it." And I'm like, "I know, but I'm just letting people know in the audience." And then I was like, "That's not an orb. That's a fairy. Look at the difference." And you would see, I guess, a camtrail or whatever you want to call it, pixie dust, whatever. And you would see the big light and then the trail behind it. And the one that flew in front of them actually had wings. You know those little spiral things that people catch on video all the time? That looks like it has. This had wings and legs, and it flipped people out. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I know, right? And I just got touched on that one on my shoulder. So, but no, it was real. I've seen fairies before, not in real life, but talking to people and on interviews or during interviews. And it's like, oh man, you got a 3D projector, with AI and everything anymore. It's really hard to differentiate if somebody is manifesting things when they send me evidence, pictures, videos, because it's not like the old days where you can look and go, "Oh, look at all the pixelation." It's been fabricated, It's been cut and snapped or picked. Now you cannot, I know, right? Now you cannot tell. So, that one's been turned off. It just clicked again. So, but I just wanted to say, yeah, if you want to see the fairy, you can look at the last show. I'll go back and get the link. It was very interesting. It was Open the Doors with myself and Barb Hartman. The guy was worked for the government, and his fiance was a psychic medium, and very interesting show. It was not a dull moment, but very active. Yes. So
cool.
Now, do you believe in fairies, sir, Mr. Shadow?
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure that I would say that I believe the traditional concept of what fairies are. But I do believe that there have been a lot of things that have existed just outside our field of view, just outside our understanding.
Absolutely.
And they're actually real. You hear about things like Tommy knockers, and you hear things about sometimes people refer to them as trolls, things that live within the ground. And we always hear these stories, but then we try to look for the evidence. And one thing that I've learned is that just because the evidence isn't there doesn't mean that it's not real. Because chances are the evidence has been found, but it's been covered up.
That is correct.
Now you start talking about conspiracy with the paranormal. And one great example of that, I'm sure you guys have heard of the Egyptian mummies found in the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
It was plastered all over the newspaper, then all of a sudden, oh, nope, it wasn't real.
Yep.
Literally overnight.
It's still blocked off.
Mm-hmm.
The entrances, yeah. And why do they have FBI agents down there with fully automatic weapons guarding it? We actually covered some of that the other day on a show. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Barb Hartman's in the house, and it was her guest. And I was flipping out. I know, right? And this ball, the other ball is turned off. I ain't even turning it back on. But yeah, about the fairies flying around in the living room. So, and I do believe in other realms and stuff like that. And a lot of people do not understand because we are taught to believe in certain things, and we are taught what is real and what is not real, what is reality and what is not reality. We also are taught what we are expect to learn, and what is out there does not exist, is not real. And when I keep saying that, people are programmed that way. And the people that I have encountered with Barb and Tracy and other people that encounter these supernatural, whatever you want to call them, whether it's spirits, demons, whatever, cryptids, that really messes them up for life. And we're talking, they don't go fishing no more. They don't go out in the woods. They don't go to their cemeteries to visit their loved ones. They had their house blessed. They sell their houses because of, things happening and the voices they hear and the EVPs they capture. I mean, it's just crazy. So, I mean, it's hard to explain all that stuff, but it does exist. And when people say, no, it doesn't, I always say, okay, do you believe in air? They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, Clint, well, can you see it? Well, no, but you can feel it though, can't you? There it is. Now, when you're in a location and something touches you, what in the hell is that? That is somebody's energy, right? So, and I just got touched again when that ball went off. So, yeah, it's not funny.
So, hey, Anna and Shadow, how did you guys meet? If you don't mind me asking. How'd you get together for your merger?
We met through P3 Family. It was a paranormal group community that was there for a while, and I happened to meet Aaron, and we kind of just clicked and became very close friends. And ever since then, we just took off and decided to build a project, and I'll let Aaron explain the rest.
Like she said, it was through P3, and once we started talking about doing podcasting and things, because originally we were just gonna, co-host on each other. She would once in a while she would come over on the Spectre Radio, and once in a while I'd go to message from the afterlife, and it just made more sense to just create one podcast and then just have our show kind of like be the sponsor behind Secrets of the Crypt. And we've been working out the merch. We do have a small lineup already available, and you can probably find those linked on our pages. But she likes to do a lot of Wicca style shirt designs, where mine is more of smart ass paranormal design. Things like I just EVP'd my pants.
Now that is something I would wear, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
We should do that for the game.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, so, and then we started talking about, gaming pages, because we first started playing Phasmophobia, and then like a couple months down the road, she's like, oh, you got to check out this game. Check out the Demonologist. And she pestered me for weeks, and finally I got it, and so we've been at it. We have Terrifying Gaming, Secrets of the Crypt, our personal podcast, our merch. Not a day's rest with this girl.
Well, excuse you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of Paranormal Plus with Grizzly and Tracy. We have Anna and Shadow, man. And I tell you, this edition is brought to you by Western Kentucky Bigfoot and Paranormal Investigations, LLC. Thank you, Mr. Don Wyden. Hopefully you're out there in the woods getting me some video evidence. And I replaced that cat ball, ladies and gentlemen, that keep turning off. And they just turned that one off during the commercial. Interesting. Glad you're on the show, Don or Shadow and Anna.
Thank you.
I just got touched, so that's why I was stuttering. So
That's
very
okay.
excited. Yeah. Do y'all get touched a lot when you're on investigating?
Yes.
Yeah.
It depends on the location.
How do y'all feel about that?
It gets creepy because you can't see what actually is touching you. So it's like, what is going on? Where is that coming from? I would like to see who's touching me. But when you're a paranormal investigator, it's like being a kid in a candy store. It gets very exciting because it's like a one hit in a million when you're a paranormal investigator. When you have these kind of things happen to you, it's like, I hope I have that on evidence. But it's weird. It's very weird. It's very bizarre. And it's like, it's a lot of questions to a point where they use all this energy to, want to touch you and let you know that they are there. It's like, why are they doing it? And how are they doing it? They're dead. I mean, it's impossible to do something like that. So it really makes you want to think. It really does.
Agreed.
Shadow, what about you? I'm afraid to even. Yes, I know. I'm afraid to do an investigation with him because here's why. Shadow, I just got touched.
And you okay?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, man, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. That's the way. He's just like, yeah, okay.
Well, I do have a story, and I would try to keep this as PG as possible. It was the first major investigation that I did with Night Watch, and there's a place called Palmer House Hotel. It was featured on Ghost Adventure, and so we were there doing our own investigation, and I was with another investigator named Harley Black. So we're in Lucy's room. If you don't know who Lucy is, Lucy was believed to have been a lady of the evening who ended up committing suicide in this hotel room. And so Neil and I are sitting in a chair. There's a bed in front of us. Harley Black is setting up an SLS camera by the head, and Thomas Wiskowski is sitting in a chair at the foot of the bed. And Harley gets this look on her face of complete confusion. And I'm looking at her going, everything all right? And she goes, I'm not sure. And she motioned me to come over, and I look on the SLS screen. And I look at Thomas and said, Thomas, you feeling all right? Oh, yeah. Why? What's going on? And I'm looking at the screen, and all I could think of is, how sad is it? Because there is a stick figure on his knee giving Tom oral.
What?
No lie. I could not believe it. And when we told Thomas about that, he was like, what? And I said, what did I tell you, Tom, when we first got here? That's paranormal investigating, not paranormal dating, because we had some other females with us. And yeah, here he is, going off with the spirit of a lady of the evening and doing his own thing. Like, I could not believe it. Yeah.
Hopefully he left some money.
Yeah.
I can't believe you said that. You left some money.
Just saying, man.
Now, let me ask you something, sir. Did you keep a straight face when you had that conversation?
Surprisingly enough, I did. But everybody else behind me was just dying with laughter.
I knew it. See, so I know where you're coming from, Anna. So I'll be running with you. Like, he'd be standing there and be like, where y'all running? I know what the hell I'm running from, because if she runs, I'm not sticking around, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
There is a reason why somebody is running, and I'm not going to find out why the hell she's running. So, yes, absolutely. So, unbelievable. Yeah. Now, I've heard some crazy stories about some brothels and red light districts, but to actually catch or something like that,
yeah. And even to this day, when we go out with Thomas, I keep telling Thomas, now, Thomas, you leave them dead girls alone.
Oh, my God.
Well, after this podcast, there's probably a bunch of teams wanting to go over there now to go hunt that place.
I just feel sorry for the people in the morning listening to this audio on the way to work.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they don't wreck their cars.
You'll get some messages. Where exactly was he sitting?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all you got to do is just look for Lucy's room, which is room 17.
He would give the room number out.
Yeah,
I never know what anybody's going to say during an interview, or what's going to happen during an investigation. And I can never keep a straight face, no matter how much or how hard I try, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-mm. And Anna, how can you do it? So, was you there?
No, I'm sorry that I missed it because I didn't know Aaron at the time, so I'm sorry I missed that one because I'll be turning around, I'll be gone.
Succubus from FDL Paranormal, yeah, succubus, yeah.
Well, the first part of that word was right.
Oh my God, I'm clapping. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but you would not believe the images I just received. You know what I'm saying? And I can see him looking at me like, man, are you feeling all right?
Well, that's just it. I mean, it was just, he had no clue what was going on. And Harley and I are sitting looking at the screen, and we're just like, what is this? Are you seeing this shit?
Now they're playing with my soundboard. I'm gonna fall on my chair. I'm getting cramped. Oh God. Man, I gotta watch more of your all's investigations. Y'all gotta be a trip. Man, y'all got me crying.
Oh yeah. Well, one thing, the reason for the lightheartedness is because in the field, we investigate locations that has a lot of darkness to it.
Right.
And if you go in there with the same kind of darkness, you might elicit reaction, but you also might put yourself at risk for some bad things to happen. And just in the natural sense, I met a guy who was one of the original scuba divers that would retrieve the bodies during the Green River killing.
Oh, wow.
Back in the 80s. And to see that kind of haunted look on a man's face. Because he says, I cannot describe what I saw in those waters. And, I think about that in the paranormal field now. How many people out there are investigating with hate or malice or depression, vet with their PTSD. So we try to make our environment as lighthearted as possible so that, we don't have to deal with overly negative aspect. Oh, yeah. Yep.
No,
the reason I'm laughing, somebody just said, I can see those stick figures decals on the back of SUV.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. There's some merch for you.
Yep. I wasn't going to laugh because he was in the middle of talking, but I couldn't hold it in. Yes.
Right.
We'll have to make that a shirt, Aaron. Seriously.
I've already got ideas for it.
Yep. Don't give him ideas, I'm telling you. This is how he is. Give him ideas.
Samantha, I'm sorry. I just can't help it. I mean, this thing won't shut off. He's got me in stitches. I mean, I can see him saying this. Are you feeling okay? You got this recorded, right? You got this.
Harley had that on her computer. I have to see if I can get a copy of that.
Oh, wow.
Because it was hysterical.
Yeah, I would have been on the floor on that one. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it all goes back. You got to have fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
really
watch
do.
the Ghost Adventures, and like every single one of them's got to be a demon. All that stuff. And to me, it doesn't really look like it's that much fun. I stopped watching them a long time ago, but that's one of the reasons.
And not only that, but if it's a really bad demon, the shirt comes off.
No.
I mean,
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry.
What? Wait a minute. Did I miss something?
Zach Baggins, he had the tendency.
Oh, yeah.
Every time there's a demon.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, the shirt comes off. Okay. TMI. I was okay. Yeah. Okay.
Did I miss something? Because now I have to go back and rewatch all his seasons because I haven't watched them in a while. So now I have to go back and be like, what did I miss?
Yeah,
Danny punches the walls. So
I take my shirt off, but I'd scare the demons away. So all the time, Saturday. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Well, it's a little bit worse for me because I'm not going to show, but I do have a tattoo of a partially naked woman on my stomach, but I've gained weight over the years, so the boobs don't quite look as nice as they used to.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh my God.
I can't. I'm done.
It's like when a teenager gets a picture or gets a tattoo of a dove, and then when he or she's about 40 years old, it's a pterodactyl. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Seen those before.
You're all killed.
Oh,
that. You got to be careful of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You top that one, Aaron.
Oh my gosh!
I try to warn people beforehand.
Tracy didn't tell me nothing about this.
If you want to talk to me, if you want to get to know me, be ready. That's all I can say.
Fair warning, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I've got an image of them walking down the beach, with their shirt off. And,
oh yeah.
Oh
my God. We had this one girl on the last show. I don't know how she does it, but she'll talk and laugh without moving her body or her mouth. And we wear headphones, right? Most of us. And with all the activity I got in my studio, we all heard this little laugh, and we're like, "What the hell was that?" And she was like, "It was me." And it was like, "What the hell? You scared the shit out of stuff?" You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, y'all just take the icing off the cake and just put the topper and just smash it. I mean, I'm cramping right now, so yes. I'm trying to breathe, Eastern. I'm trying. I can't. Every time I get a breath, I get the wind knocked out of me. So,
yeah. And hey, Eastern, I'm doing all right. So,
yeah, I can just keep seeing Shadow going. Are you okay? Do you feel okay?
He's just sitting back, chilling, just relaxed.
Yeah, and the guy's like, "Yeah, why?"
Yeah.
Golly. Yeah. And a pterodactyl that was also. Our poor audio listeners tomorrow. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Just make sure and wear your seatbelts. So
Anna, change the subject, I guess, a little bit. Your tarot card reading business you're getting ready to start up, right? You're going to get into reading cards, or?
No, I have been doing it for a very long time. I haven't been doing it only because we've been so busy with everything else that's been going on with our projects. And I'm still doing it. I'm open Monday through Saturday, and I'm open all day up until 5 o'clock. I do spiritual readings, tarot card readings. It depends on the person. The reason why I say that because when you sit down with that person, a lot of times they don't need the cards. It's more spiritual. It depends on how, the energy of the spirit is with that person. And they will interrupt me. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't need those. So, but I'm still doing it. I do it from time to time. But like I said, I've been so busy focusing on our new show, make sure that's up and running, make sure people are seeing our, our flyers, our ads, make sure we're welcoming people, making sure our merch, and he's working really hard on a lot of other things like making videos and editing and doing all that stuff. But I'm doing my best to keep it in between. I would like to have it get very busy because I believe my gift can help a lot of people, and it has had in the past. So hopefully it'll pick up once again once I'm not so busy with the radio show. But I want the radio show to be first, only because we want to be there for people. We want to have people get recognized and to support everybody. So that's what we're basically working on.
Mm-hmm. And that's awesome, because that's what the paranormal field needs, right? Is positivity and support, especially the new people just joining. And Grizzly and I talk about all the time. Last couple of years it's just exploded, and then once you get to a certain amount of people, you're always got to expect that negativity and it to kind of go the other way, which is is a little bit. We're still exploding, but it seems almost cliquish to an extent. So we appreciate that you guys do that. You guys have that radio show to bring everybody together. That's a great thing.
Thank you. We really do try, and we just got started, but I believe it will take off. We just got to keep at it, and we're getting followers right now. I've been sharing on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. I've been posting everywhere. So, and I'll probably post on Paranormal Links as well while I'm thinking about it.
Cool. And Shadow, other than that SLS sex cam you got, what kind of equipment do you really like to use? I mean, what's your favorite go-to piece of equipment?
I don't know what he's gonna say.
Well,
I can only imagine.
Yeah, when it comes to equipment, it's kind of a hard choice, only because certain spirits react to certain equipment, and for one, I like to use the any kind of device that'll detect electromagnetic field.
Yep.
I always have. I mean, that's one of the things that I always have on me, no matter what. And one of the reasons is there's a place not far from where I live called Carlos Avery Wildlife Management Area. It's a beautiful wildlife reserve. During the daytime, I've gone out there and done wildlife photography. Gorgeous place. And what's interesting is that the reserve has roads that are open 24/7, so you can be out there at all hours you want. And we were out there right around the time of Samhain, so right at the end of October, beginning of November. Mm-hmm. And we're out there. We're in my buddy's truck, and he got the K2, and we get a hit. So we stop the truck, stick his hand out the window. All of a sudden, it slammed all the way up to level 5.
I've seen that. I watched it for you.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, well, turn off the truck. Maybe the truck is throwing off electromagnetic energy because you got all those coils and all those moving parts. Still level 5. All right, fine. Give me the K2, and I stuck my hand out. So from where he had his hand out to where I had mine out, you're probably looking at about, almost 14 feet distance. And it's still level 5. Then all of a sudden, it just gradually went down and disappeared. So we drove a little ways down the road, found it again, level 5. Every time we found it, the whole field of energy would encapsulate the entire truck. And it moves. So.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Who would think something like that would, interact inside a truck with equipment? You would never know that,
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons why, you'll hear me in the video say, okay, do this, do that, do this, because I'm trying to make sure that there is nothing that could naturally explain this. And I think that's something else that a lot of people tend to overlook when they're in the field. They hear something, no, hold on. Let's see if we can repeat it. Let's see if he can go somewhere, see if there's like a crack in a window, if there's a moving door, anything. And only then, after you've eliminated all those possibilities, then you can go ahead and call up paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best way to look at it, because there's so many people that actually want to jump on that bandwagon. Oh, it's a demon. Oh, it's a ghost. And, it's just the air conditioner kicking in, or it's the old house, settling. So, yeah. And then, and that goes a long ways. So Eastern, yes, a big debunker. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in that. And a lot of people don't do that. They want to catch that evidence. They want to be that person on YouTube. They want to get those hits. Well, you get a reputation like that, you're not going to have followers and people that watch you. They want to see you do your due diligence and research. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, I like that.
And I think, especially if you get to homes that are in the northern part of the U.S., because the home, if you live up north, we have, like here in Minnesota, our winters can get down as low as -45.
Wow.
Yeah. And our summers can get as hot as 110 degrees. Not consistently, but it can get that hot. So when you have temperatures that are that extreme in these older homes, which are made out of predominantly wood, you're going to get all that expansion and contraction. And that's where a lot of noises come from. And people just completely overlook that.
Yeah.
That's true. They do. They really do. So...
reading that the Air Force guy coming out and whistleblowing that the USAF has alien craft. I've been seeing some stuff about that. I know you guys, we talked a little bit about Bigfoot and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on aliens with the paranormal side of it?
That I truly believe in, because we're seeing it more and more now. And I've been seeing a lot of articles on what people are getting, and it's incredible. And I believe in aliens. There's going to be a point in time where they will, want to come here and be like, we are here, now we're not leaving. Why not, right? I mean, we have ghosts, we have possible Bigfoot. Who knows? Why can't aliens do the same thing? The government probably is hiding the alien and the aircrafts and all that, like they said back in the day. So I really truly believe that there are aliens. I really do.
Yeah, I myself, I'm on board with that. I'm gonna have different theories about it, but for the most part, I do think that aliens exist. And for someone, like myself, who has learned to appreciate mathematics, the mathematic possibility that we are the only sentient life forms in the cosmos, it's just not possible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I've heard some crazy stories about what people think these aliens are. I've heard one guy told me that UFOs are actually angel technology. Okay, now this is where I'm starting to have a little trouble. Like, okay, you know what? That's starting to get to the thing that I'm not sure I really want to say that I believe in. But at the same time, you have these, ancient alien theories. Maybe these aliens are considered angels. It's a really unique field to try to get into, the whole UFO culture. You hear a lot of stories. I've had people from the UK tell me stories. I found stories in my research that I've never heard from anybody else, and these are just recently declassified documents. And it's like, wow, this is just crazy. But yeah, I'm a believer.
There's so much out there that, like I said, it's hard not to believe in. The only thing that's really disconcerting and concerning is that with the AI that's been released to the general public across America and the world is not the AI that the government has. It's far well advanced. We're talking 30, 50 years already technology than what we already know. And I mean, I look around my studio and look at the equipment that I have, and look at some of the equipment that I use and go on my investigations. And I I know people that's in the Air Force, and I know people that worked for the government that did remote viewing on the Soviet Union and during the Cold War, and they will tell you there are things that you all, referring to civilians, will not understand and will never know about, and that tells me a lot, right? So I just don't think that we as civilians or human beings could actually handle the truth. I really don't. So
Well, it's kind of like that American Horror Story that came out a couple years ago. That I don't know if anybody watched that. They went through how we got all our technology and stuff. You know, you're like looking at it thinking, you know, that's probably not. You know, obviously it's a show. You know, but who knows, man? I mean, that's highly likely. I mean, it could be highly likely if you open your mind up to it, right? So it is a really interesting show. I don't know. Did you see that, Grizzly?
no, a lot of people I talked to has talked about it, but you know, when people on one of the national shows I do, Awake the Nation, you know, a very well known show. It's broadcast across the globe. I was asked a question, what is reality? And it's like, wow, that is a question that I cannot answer, because what is reality in human terms? Because our reality is not what is really exists. And, you know, when it comes to investigators, whether it's the paranormal, like you all or us, or in the cryptid zoology field. I mean, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, there are things that exist that people and scientists says, no, they do not. And we have creatures and monsters that are washing up on beaches. And the first thing they do is dig a hole and bury them. And people are like, wait a minute, why are you not putting it on the back of a truck and taking it to the lab? And, you know, figuring out what it is, because they already know. They just don't want us to know. And people are not swimming in the oceans. And then you look at, you know, they know more about outer space than they do about our oceans and the depth. And it's like, you know, once again, that's that line I say, I cannot draw a line. So when we do investigations like you, both of you all, you never know what's going to happen. And when people call you all up and say, hey, you know, once you come over here and do this investigation, or you're going to go do an investigation, you already know a little bit, some of the back history and so forth, but you have history of it, right? So it's not like everything you know over these years is a bunch of bullwinky. You know, there's some validity to it, because there's other people that's visited, it's got the same results and so forth. Now, it may not happen at the same time every time everybody's there on the same Friday, every Friday, you know, because like I said, you know, if I was a ghost, I would haunt the hell out of everybody every chance I get. I would shake your sheets. I would tickle your feet. I would flip the light switch off and on. I would turn the water on in the bathroom while you were sleeping. I would love to have fun. But, you know, also I would probably get bored and be like, oh, God, here comes more ghost hunters, you know. I'm leaving. You're going to be bored tonight, right? So, yeah. So, Standing Stones is asking, the hotels have special access and elevators. Oh, they're talking backstage. So, but no, but, you know, what are some of your memorable ghost investigations besides the yeah,
you can start with this one, Aaron.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Whoever go first on that one.
Well, this one is not as entertaining as that one, but this one is definitely my most personal experience. There's a cemetery about an hour's drive north from where I live called the Garden of Remembrance. And this cemetery is filled with children who had suffered mental disabilities or physical disabilities or were just flat out orphaned between the late 1800s and the early 1900s. And a lot of these kids came from the Minnesota State Academy for the Deaf, and when nobody would come to claim them, they would send them off to the state, which was in Cambridge. And if nobody claimed them there, once they died, they were just put in the ground and given a little cheap brick with their initial and the year they died.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And it wouldn't be until I think it was sometime in the 2000s where the Historical Society saw that this cemetery was about to be overrun because it's been forgotten and neglected. So they went back and they didn't, I don't think they got everybody, but they went back and found all the names and dates and history, put a plaque up in the middle of it, and then actually went back and gave them nice polished stone grave markers with their initials and the year they died. And when we got there, you know, we knew the history about this place. We knew this was all kids. Some of them were deaf, blind, mentally handicapped, but they were all traumatized because healthcare back then was horrible.
Right.
You know, we've all heard of the shame of Pennsylvania, Pennhurst. We've all heard of Willowbrook being exposed by Geraldo Rivera. Mental health and disability understanding was in the crapper, basically. But we get there, we're doing our investigation, nothing happened. We don't get any K2 hits, we don't get any interaction, we don't get any EVPs, nothing. Then I remembered that they came from the State Academy from the Deaf. Now, I went to that same school because I'm 60% deaf, and I went to that same school, so I knew that place. So when I started talking to these kids in sign language, everything lit up. We couldn't get them to leave our equipment alone. So that was my most memorable because of how personal it was.
Wow. That's wild. That's wild. You know, I hear a lot of people that do investigations. Tracy, you're going to be one of them leaving the country, right? And going to another country. And people that are not getting results and turn around and speaking in their language that were there back in the days and then getting results. Matter of fact, I do a lot of shows like we talked about off the air and during our time now. And we have a guy, we've been interviewing a lot of indigenous people, Indian tribe people that are, you know, well, of course, mixed now, not 100% pure blood or bread or blood. And he has relationships with Sasquatch, and he will communicate with his Indian language. And he's actually has it documented. And he was teaching us phrases to say out in the woods. And I'm like, man, I hope this guy's telling me the truth and not saying I'm going to kick your butt or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, and getting these things mad at me. But, and he has people with him, and he was trying to get them to say, hello, how are you? And, you know, we're come in peace. Well, not to these creatures. And he was like, what is your name? And he had one on recording turn around. I don't remember the phrase that they say, but it said no back to him in the Indian language. And that scared the hell out of me. Now, then, once again, ladies and gentlemen, and he told us, do not go in the woods alone because these creatures, whatever you want to call them, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Littlefoot, hairy man, wild man, whatever, the ones that they have problems with, they are kicked and removed from the clan or tribe, and they're excommunicated, and they are removed from the area. And those are the ones, yes, those are the ones I'm afraid of, that I would be out there by myself and be like, look at that white man. Oh, I'm going to take him out. And that'd be my luck, right? Because they know what guns are, they know what firearms are, and they're very intelligent creatures. And when I say intelligent, they know how to turn off tape recorders, digital recorders, not drain the batteries, manually hit the power buttons. Now, we know, and being in the field, and I've got tons of these, and I know you all do too, and I've always got them around my studio. And I mean, I've got all kinds of them. That was me on the light balls with different types of recorders, and all the power buttons are different. Some you have to slide and hold, some you have to press and hold. And I have a guy that is a Sasquatch investigator in Kentucky. I know it's going to sound ironic, but he uses Gorilla Tape, and he knows where there's a breeding ground. And he'll take one of these and Gorilla Tape it to a sign next to the woods. And for hours, they will throw rocks at that sign trying to knock it off. And you will hear it go dink, dink, donk, and you hear the bigger the rocks trying to knock it off. And there's been reports where people will be out camping, and they would tape it on the inside of their campers on the screen, and the tiki lights would be put out, and it would be removed, and the tiki lights would be relit, and it's like, what the hell? And they're like, nah, man, it's happening. And these people are well-known people in the community. So when it comes to the stuff in the paranormal, I believe in anything. It's hard not to. Now, is mental illness, like we talked about, a serious issue in America and across the world? Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people have problems with the asylums and the mental hospitals back in the day. Is because if you saw things or you heard things, they didn't want to deal with you. They put you away, put you on the medicine, and they just forgot about you, right? They mistreated you and over medicated you.
Mm-hmm.
And and when I took psychology, that was the biggest problem I had was people have abilities. People can see things. And that's why I like having people with abilities that can read cards and so forth, do investigations like you, Anna, because it validates things, right? You can go in a room and feel the energy and communicate and do your thing. And it's just another layer of validity to things on an investigation. And I always tell anybody that's into the paranormal, if you don't have anybody with abilities, find somebody in your area. I mean, they'd love to go out with you guys, and have fun because it's very interesting. And what do you do when you go out? Do you pick up like the energy feels? Do you feel their illness, their sickness, how they died, how they crossed over?
Everything on that list you have is exactly what I feel. I only think I haven't done yet is the whole crossover thing, but it depends on how eager they are to get their message across. They will make me feel, if my throat's being closed, it could be a sign of them being struggling or being a hung. It depends on how they pass away. My chest would be hurting. It could be a heart attack or anything of the sort. So I feel everything and what they're trying to tell me when it comes to that. And sometimes it's not all pieces of cream because it could really make you sick afterwards. It just depends on the energy of the spirit. So it can get really intense when it comes to being a medium and very sensitive to that level in the spiritual world. And you got to be very careful when you're investigating because let me tell you, there'll be times where I walk into a room and the energy is so negative, I can't even walk in there. It's so thick that I can't even get in the room because of the negativity. And people will have me walk through a room when we're doing the walkthrough and to let them know, if how I feel on each room to let the client know, is it evil? Is it negative? And I'll tell them straight out the bat, you got negativity because I can't even walk through the house. So it depends on the spirit, the house, and everything else, but it can get very intense when you're a medium.
Now, what do you feel, and this goes for both of y'all, how do you feel about provoking?
Never. Never, ever, ever. I've seen horror stories. It's the number one rule in ghost hunting that you should never do because you never know what type of spirit is going to come across. I mean, if you provoke, you're asking for trouble. I'm flat out telling the truth because these spirits can really twist your mind and play tricks on you like you wouldn't believe. So I would never, ever dare provoke nothing. No, don't watch what TV shows you because they cut a lot of crap out. So if you want to provoke, that's on you, but I would suggest not to do it. It's very highly dangerous.
What about you, Shadow?
Well, for me, it's not so much as about provocation as it is about challenging a spirit's ability. Because I think there is a way to where you can, I don't want to say instigate an interaction, but there's one you can actually promote something to happen. You can, say, look, I've heard that you were able to do this, but I'm not seeing evidence. Can you prove it to me? Can you show me that these people are right? Are you real? Do you have that ability? If you pose it like that, you probably get a much more positive reaction. Whereas a lot of times, what people forget is most of the spirit were once human and alive, and are likely going to have the same kind of attitude toward jerky behavior in death as they did in life. So if you go walking somewhere and you come off with some pompous jerk, if I came up to you in real life and talked to you like that, are you going to want to talk to me?
Right. Absolutely not.
No.
So, it doesn't surprise me that people don't get reaction when they behave poorly like that. Like I said, I do feel that there is a way that you can challenge a ghost to prove yourself.
Without provoking it.
Yeah. Well, and Trace and I, we talk about this a lot, is that people get into the paranormal field and they see stuff on TV and they duplicate it. And then they call me and they're like, I don't know what's going on. My boyfriend and husband, I've been fighting for the last 30 days. And I ask them, what have you done? What's changed? Nothing. No, something's changed. And then the truth finally comes out. They provoked and they did some horrible stuff. And why would you do that? Well, we didn't know what to do. We weren't getting anything. So we saw it on TV. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. You replicated something you shouldn't have done.
No.
And yeah, right. And it does. And I don't know, was it on our show or was it another show? I can't remember, Tracy, where they investigated a place and the guy challenged the ghost or the spirit and said, I'm not afraid of you. Screw you. You're not going to hurt me nor my family. F off, blah, 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 blah. And I think, was it not even a month later, they got a call. And the daughter was found dead in the attic. And I mean, the wife was hysterical. They didn't know what was going on. And they tried it because, that's right. The comment was made, I'm going to kill your kids or something. I'm going to murder your children. And they were debating on whether to tell the family or not on the EVP what they got. And they debated on it. And they're like, yeah, we better tell. And the father was big and, hell no, that ain't going to happen. And they're like, oh, no, don't provoke it. Don't do it. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that's what happened. Now, she was a very healthy young teenager. But what I'm trying to say is that what they're saying is you do not know what you're messing with on this realm or outside of this reality. And they do have powers beyond our means. And I do watch horror movies and things do come true. And there are some validity to some of these movies that we watch. So you got to be careful. And yes, Crazy Witch, you do have to be respectful. I do believe in that. I do believe in what they're saying. And I do believe with you, Shadow, and how there's proper ways you can get around that. So yes, absolutely.
Anna has Lauren has a question for Anna. Anna, do you get a feeling as if you are walking underwater sometimes? She gets it when she's entering into a building.
No, what happens is it doesn't feel like you're walking underwater. For me, for every medium is different. Every medium feels different energies when it comes to doing something like this. And the minute I walk through a room, it's very thick, and the minute is so, like I said, it's so thick, it's hard to explain. It's like a bubble. I can't even pop it and walk in that room. Is so bad. So it's more like trying to pop a bubble than walking through underneath water.
Gotcha.
I hear that a lot. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's just the way the energy and the spirits, how they manifest and come across when you run into it. And that's the only thing that I can think of when it comes to something like that.
Now, being with your having abilities, what do you think about all this energy shift and stuff?
The energy shifts, it depends on what's going on with spirits, what's going on with everything else. And for every medium and psychic, it could be different for each and every one of us. I could not feel anything. Some mediums could feel other things that other mediums can't. So it just all depends on the medium and psychic.
That makes sense. Yes, that does. Now, Shadow, what do you recommend for people that are trying to get started out in the field and learning? What are some of your takeaways for them?
Well, first and foremost, do not use Ghost Adventures as your teaching guide. Second would be, well, I'm sorry, I just when Ghost
Everybody
Adventures
picks
first
on Ghost Adventures. I don't understand it.
when Ghost Adventures first came out, the first one they did, they actually had a lot of good stuff in it. But once Zach Baggin kind of got that taste of the power that came with that celebrity ship, and he saw the opportunity, it changed them. Now, that doesn't mean that their evidence is fake or anything. It's just, there's just so much that's being cut out, which goes to my next point. Do your research and find out all you can about the paranormal field, as far as what practices are used, what the equipment are. And I say that because a lot of people get this idea, oh, I'm going to start a group, I'm going to get this, and it's all going to be so cool, and I'm going to get a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work that easy.
No.
A lot of people start off using outdoor places, which is fine. But you're going to find that it is very possible to burn a spot. And what I mean by that is you hit a location so many times that the spirit gets to get tired of you.
Right.
And they stop talking to you. So with that in mind, you be aware that you're going to have to do some traveling. If you want to do those big places like the big shot do, save up. You got to think about the fuel costs. You got to think about hotel costs. You got to think about eating. And a lot of times you got to think about paying these people, because some of these locations won't let you in unless you come up with the money. That's something else people don't really think about. But more importantly, the most crucial part, and there's actually a few of them, one of the most crucial parts is screen the people you're going to work with. Because the last thing you need is somebody to completely throw your vibe off and just ruin it for you. Yeah. Second, when you are going to establish a team, set up ground rules that everybody has to follow. Because if you get a rogue on your team, now you're losing that harmony, and that can make the investigation go bad. And last, when you go to a site, a couple of things to follow. One, respect the location and its history. Two, avoid using conjuring or summoning practices, because we know that you can summon and bring things through, but you're going to a spot to see if there's something already there, and you don't need to summon anything. And when you do an investigation, no running. I know that's a hard thing for you to think about, Grizz, but
it is.
And I don't say that's mostly a safety concern, because the last thing you want to do is go running in sheer terror in the dark, knock something over, damage something, hurt somebody, hurt yourself.
Right.
And also never investigate alone. And again, this is a safety issue. You don't want to get hurt somewhere and have no one there to help you. And some locations we go to don't have cell phone signal, so you might not be able to call people either. So that's why you don't investigate alone. I don't mean that, like you go to a house and say, all right, you're going to go in this room by yourself. That's fine. Somebody knows where you are. What I'm talking about is don't get in your car and hit a spot by yourself. Have somebody with you. And that's about it.
Now, one of the things that I talk about a lot, and I agree with everything you say wholeheartedly and 110%. One of the things I add to that too is not only do you screen people, but you also have to be careful on who you affiliate with in this reality when it comes to the paranormal field as well. And the reason why I bring that up is that being in law enforcement, I try to tell people birds of the feather flock together. You may not be that doper, you may not be that bad guy, but you hang around that person, you're going to get that label, right?
Yep.
And once you get that label, you're not going to get the sponsors. You're not going to get the reputation that you want. You're not going to get people that's going to back you and be like, that guy and that girl, Van, are respectful. They're 100%. They're right on the money. And that reputation either it's going to make you or break you. And I try to tell people, if I have to trim my tree, and I will. Now, if I have to cut my tree down and replant it, well, guess what? I will do that because it is me and it's not you. And I'm very protective who does my shows with me and who I do shows with, because that's very important. And especially who is on your team, because if you do have that rogue person, that can ruin your reputation, especially if you're trying to put yourself out there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have our merch. That's why I show the grizzlyspirit.com. We don't make a bunch of money off our t-shirts and merchandise. It costs money to make that stuff. But those little extra dollars helps us to put back into our equipment, our gas, our lodging, our software, our subscriptions to broadcast, and to edit, to whatever we put that money to. And Tracy can tell you, just like you two, it's not cheap, and it costs money. And I spent a lot of money, and I'm thankful that I do have a sponsor. And another thing too is that when people come to you and they start to look at you for TV shows or, to be on the air, they do an extensive, when I say an extensive, I'm talking a social media background check on you. They check out what you post and who you are associated with. Because when I was looked at, I got flagged on one person, and I was like, really? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, look at this. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. And luckily, I had the stuff to back myself up. But once again, being associated with somebody can ruin you. And people don't understand that. Well, I did not do that. Just because I'm doing something with them, I should not be punished. Well, unfortunately, it's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. And, and people need to understand that. And it's not trying to be mean to anybody. It's really not. We spend a lot of time and energy and, hearing both of you all putting into what you're doing to make something, to get something up and running. It's a lot of time. I do everything by myself, so I know exactly, and Tracy does everything that he does, by himself, with his little thing with Paralinked, and it's a lot of work too. Yep. So I understand exactly what you're saying. Everybody keeps saying safety in numbers. They agree with you there, Shadow. Absolutely. So yeah, that's really good feedback.
Well, it's not just from a spiritual standpoint. And real quick, I had a case where it was me and my friend Tom. We went down to a site, and this place was being converted to a halfway house for veterans. And there was a veteran who had a problem with alcohol, violated the rule, had PTSD, and was kicked out. We didn't know that. And he was down by the river where we were at, and he was clearly upset. And he told us that if we didn't leave, we would be found floating down the river.
Oh, wow.
And had there been more of us there, we would have been left alone. And I had to comply. I told Tom, let's just get out of here, because Tom, he is not a fighter at all. And I had all my equipment on me. So I've already got about 150 pounds on my back. I am in no position to take on a trained military soldier.
Right.
Not a chance in hell. Even if I didn't have all that equipment on me, there's no way I was going to do it. So again, don't do it by yourself, because whether it's the living or the dead, you got to watch out.
No, you're absolutely right. It's sad that it's come to that. A lot of people ask me, do I miss law enforcement? I do, but I don't miss the BS and what's going on in the world today. No, absolutely not. I love the people that we meet doing the shows and doing the investigations and going out and mingling with people. But people just think we're just raking in the money doing this, and we're making thousands just doing the show. No, ladies and gentlemen, we're not. So, and they're like, "What? You're paying for this?" Yes, absolutely.
You mean I'm not getting paid?
Yeah, right. So, and anytime you have merchandise, shirts or whatever, candles, that stuff adds up, because some of these places you go and investigate, you're right, they do charge. And some of it you got to have, yeah, right. I know they're agreeing. If you got to have X amount of people to go to make it even reasonable to investigate, or you have to go with strangers and still got to have X amount of people to make it reasonable per person to go. So I totally understand that. I really do.
All right.
What do you think?
Well, you guys want to say anything? Give your contact information and your store info and all that stuff on how to get your merchandise.
Yeah, for my tarot card readings, my website is all linked onto my main profile and a Brandon Mart onto the side. All you gotta do is click on it, and you'll find everything there. And I will also add in Spectre Radio as well with Secrets of the Crypt and Message from the Afterlife. You find that all on the side of my profile as well, with everything else, with merch. Candle store is being rebuilt, so just be a little patient with that. We will have that up and running soon. And Aaron, you like to add anything with that?
Gravedigger Production, that's where I do a lot of graphic work, logo, intro videos, backdrop, promos, whatever you need. And, I should mention Spectre Radio and Secrets of the Crypt. Also, Terrifying Gaming. If you're a gamer and you like those scary games,
sorry,
find us there.
To add that in there.
And, you're more than welcome to join us.
Yeah, we're on Twitch now. We're also linked to YouTube, so we're really up there with the whole live gaming right now. So it's pretty big.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And with the Secrets of the Crypt, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, RSS, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and we will be going on to a couple of other podcast platforms as well. And Dark Vault Magazine, that's my newest magazine. You can find a link for that on the Gravedigger Production page, and it's just $5 an issue. It just started. The first issue came out. That one's got quite a few articles in there, covering as many strange topics as I can, and I'm hoping to be able to expand it to where I can start getting people to submit their experiences from the field and be able to showcase them in the magazine as well.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. That'd be real awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate y'all taking the time to come aboard to Paranormal Plus with us. I know the audience loved you guys, and it's been great. And hopefully y'all come back and see us.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. Thank you, Tracy, for reaching out and having me, and thank you for adding in Aaron. I really appreciate it. I don't want to leave out my partner, so.
No, that's awesome, and we appreciate you guys being on here.
Oh, thank you. It was really awesome.
Y'all have a good one. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. So, Tracy, interesting. I tell you, wonderful group. Lauren, they were amazing. Yeah, Crazy Witch, loved to death. But I can see. Yeah, I know. I knew that ball was going to go off, but I can see doing an investigation with him.
Yeah,
and I have to make sure you're hitting the right one.
Yeah,
it's going to be okay. Remain calm at all times.
What the hell? I ain't remain calm. Are you feeling okay? And y'all had me in stitches. And I'm glad I got extra big, long arm rails on my chair, because I would have been on the floor. I almost left the camera on that one.
Yeah.
And the pterodactyl, y'all cracked me up. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully y'all enjoyed this edition with us. And I love the guests. Tracy hit another one. Yes. Godhead testify. So fun. Whose cat am I hearing?
We
That's
had a lot of
probably Tracy. You got a
yeah,
cat, Tracy?
that cat
Okay.
is a lot of comments and interactions. That was cool. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
No, hey guys, just keep joining us every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll have another guest on next week. And if you get a chance, check out paralink.com. Free to join up for the community. And I just want to say thanks to Chris. He does a great job, and really like working with him on this.
Well, hey, it's my pleasure, and I love having you on, and I think we make a good team. And from coast to coast and around the world, ladies and gentlemen, the audio will be uploaded in the morning, and take care and Godspeed. We'll see you on the next edition. Bye-bye.
Bye.